in ayat 11 where it says, وَإِذْ رَأَوْا تِجَارَةً أَوْ لَحْوًا انْفَضُّوا إِلَيْهَا وَتَرَى الْقُوقَ الْقَائِمَةَ. And according to the Mufassirin, he says that when they see some a bargain or amusement, that they break away and leave you standing. Right? And according to Suyuti, Ibn Kathir, and most of the Asbab al-Nuzul concerning this ayah, that the Prophet ﷺ was given the khutbah in Medina, and a caravan came rolling through, and the Muslims scattered out of the masjid and left him standing there at the pulpit. And so Allah Ta'ala admonished us by saying that which is with Allah is better than any lahwa or tijara, any amusement or any bargain. And as Allah Ta'ala says, to back up the statement, Allah says in Surah Al-Saf, He says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu hal adulukum ala tijaratin tunjikum min adhabil alim. Can I show you, or may I show you, a tijara, a bargain, if you're looking for bargains, that will save you from a painful penalty. تؤمنوا بالله ورسوله وتجاهدون في سبيل الله بأموالكم وأنفسكم ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. May I show you a bargain that will save you from a painful penalty? Belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. تؤمنوا بالله ورسوله, belief in Allah and His Messenger, and striving and struggling with your goods and your persons on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is best for you if you but knew. And as I always say, if everything that you got could fit inside a shoebox, and that's all you got, then you strive and you struggle with that shoebox on behalf of Allah Ta'ala. That's the bargain. And so Allah Ta'ala admonished the believers for that particular incident that happened in Medina, when the Prophet ﷺ had got on the pulpit and the caravan came through. And because of the early stages of development for Jummah, the Muslims perhaps didn't know the etiquette of Jummah. And so we ain't have no excuse, because all of the hadith have been laid out, man, for the benefits and the windows of opportunity associated with the superiority, man, of this day. The blessings of this day. The rewards associated with this day, man. This is the best day of the week. Yawmul Jummah. And when you wake up in the morning, I see brothers sitting out and tell you, he said, Happy Jummah, akhi, subhanallah. Jummah Mubarak. Jummah blessings, because people realize the significance, man. And so they put on their shark skins and matadors and the jalabiyas, the nice jalabiyas, man, and put on the best oil, smelling good, man. And the sisters is looking flowery. They got on the best jilbabs and the best khimars, and they come, man, you know, in fulfillment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command, man. Oh, you who worship Allah. So let us reflect upon the importance of Yawm al-Jummah, and perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to help us grow and give us spiritual enlightenment so that we will appreciate this day, you know, to the degree, man, that other faith groups appreciate their days, whether it be Sunday, whether it be Saturday. But this is our day, man, you know, and we should honor it, we should respect it, and we should honor the adab of this day. And if the Prophet ﷺ said that you should do thus and such and so, then make it your opportunity to do thus and such, so and so. Because when I see us, when we going out, man, and we doing our thing, we put it on. You know? When we going out other places and we got to do our thing and we trying to represent, man, we dress up. But when we come to Jummah, for some reason, we dress down. The opposite. You see, so there's a tremendous amount of reward. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity associated with this day. Because one of the things about Islam, as I stated, man, when one window closes, another one opens. You see, when one window closes, another one opens. Ramadan is on its way. Right? Ramadan is like a shadow, man, over us, ready to drop, man. We got about 60 days. Right? Allah Ta'ala says, Inna anzalna fi laylatul qadr. Verily, it was sent down in Laylatul Qadr, right? And the tremendous amount of windows of opportunity associated with Laylatul Qadr, man. You know, where Allah says, Salamun hiya hatta matla al-fajr. Right? That the malaika descend all the way, man, into the early mornings of Fajr. That you got a golden window of opportunity to seize during the month of Ramadan. You got a golden opportunity to see today during Jummah. If we only but knew. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد في العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ونريد أن نأمن على الذين استضعفوا في الأرض ونجعلهم أئمة ونجعلهم وارثين. And إن الله تعالى يبعث لهذا أمة على الرأس كل 100 سنة من يجدد لها دينها. We desire that we show favor upon those who were deemed weak in the earth, to make them leaders and to make them inheritors. And the Prophet ﷺ has said in a very famous hadith, verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send at the beginning of every century such a person for this ummah who will rejuvenate and restore the deen. And so, you know, I wanted to talk about this topic because I was so inspired by one of our scholars, Brother Muhammad Sharif, who talked about the concept of tajdeed, in Islam, which is that tajdeed is an Arabic word that means revival, or revival in particular of the deen. And all of the dalil and the proofs are from the Prophet ﷺ concerning the topic of tajdeed. That verily Allah Ta'ala will send at the beginning of every century such a person for this ummah who will rejuvenate and restore the deen. And Sufyan ibn Ayana, one of the fuqaha of Medina Munawwara, said, it has reached me that there will appear at the head of every 100 years after the death of the Prophet ﷺ a man from among the scholars by whom Allah will strengthen this deen. And Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal has related that the Rasulullah ﷺ said that Allah will raise for people at the head of every 100 years one who will teach the people the sunnah and negate from the Rasul lies or liars. And Imam Suyuti, on the condition of the condition of the Mujaddid, that he can be one or he could be many. Right? And some of the examples that he gives is that during the time of the Mahdi and Sayyidina Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salam will come, and that at that time they will both be on the set as the Mujaddid, as the revivers of Islam, and this is the proof that the Mujaddid could be more than one person. That there could be a Mujaddid that pops up in one part of the country, and it could be a Mujaddid that pops up in another part of the country, but the reality that Allah Ta'ala has raised them up in order to rejuvenate the deen of Islam. And he goes on to say that the Mujaddid, the person who's performing tajdeed, reviving the Islam, that he must be a scholar. He must be a scholar who knows the science of the religion both inward and outward. That he must not just be a faqih, or one who has mastered the science of jurisprudence or fiqh comprehension, understanding that which is intended by the Quran and the Sunnah. But he should not be one who beats people over the head with hadith saying, brother or sister, you are making bid'ah. No. He is the one who has mastered the inner character of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he revives the hearts of humanity, and he teaches people good character. He teaches people how to be tolerant. That is the true Mujaddid. The concept of tajdeed is based on knowledge. Tajdeed is not divorced from knowledge. If you want to revive something, you must have and need knowledge. And when you witness the community about to go through the concept of tajdeed, you will see one from among them emerge and light the fire of tajdeed, meaning traditional learning going back to its founding scholars. And so tajdeed, which is a positive thing, occurs at the time of a negative thing, which gives us hope in Allah, especially when we see all of the 72 signs of the prevalence of the end of time. Especially when we see all of the 72 signs of the prevalence of the end of time have occurred for any of us who Allah Ta'ala has blessed with intellect to see. The Imam Suyuti said that the meaning of tajdeed is to revive that which has been effaced from knowledge from the book and the sunnah. And he commanded the people to establish the book of Allah and the sunnah. And the job of the Mujaddid is the job of every Muslim that's alive. That if you are not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. Either we are the signs of the end of time, where the Rasul said that the liar will be trusted and the truthful will be denied. Either we will be proof of that, or we will be proof against it. And as the Prophet said, either we will be Cain, treacherous, and people trust us, or we will be Amin, faithful, and people mistrust us. All you have to do is look at the social media and see how Muslims are slandering the scholars of Islam with no recourse. People who have dedicated their lives to La ilaha illallah, to Islam, before most of us were even born. Sheikh Uthman ibn Fudiyu said there are 3 prerequisites of tajdeed. 3 things that you shouldn't do if you are involved in tajdeed. And one is to be preoccupied with the faults of other people. To be preoccupied with the faults of other people, it is not the duty of the Mujaddid to go around checking to see how long your beard is, whether how high your pants are, and whether the sister's khimar is wrapped right, or how long is your jalabiyah. But that is not the duty of the mujaddid. The duty of the mujaddid is that he is not to be preoccupied with the faults of other people. He assumes the best of people, as Ahmadu Bamba describes his teacher, the mujaddid from the 10th century, Mahmadu Bagyugu. Mahmadu Bagyugu said that he felt that the only evil that exists is ignorance, and every evil results from ignorance, and it was his duty to remove all ignorance, to remove all ignorance from the slave of Allah. So he looked at them with good and saw the inner core of that person. And another scholar by the name of Abdul Qadir Dantafa, one of the great Nigerian scholars, the grandson of Sheikh Uthman ibn Fudi, he said, I took an oath with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I would look at every creation with the same eye that Allah looked when he decided to create them, with pure mercy, and regardless if the person was Muslim or Kafir. That I would have the same opinion, that I would look at his ruh, that his spirit, that Allah has breathed within him, that it was from the mercy of Allah. And it is my duty to remove the disbelief from him and the ignorance from him. And this is a profound way of looking at things. When you have this kind of opinion, you can't be anything but successful, and you don't alienate people, or you who worship Allah. Sheikh Uthman ibn Fudi also said, or he gives the first principle of the mujaddid, and his objective is to tear the veil between Allah and his slaves. Not to be involved with the people's sins, not to be preoccupied with people's sins, that Allah will reckon with him and question him on the day of judgment, because whoever follows after the sins and faults of his brother or sister, Allah will follow after his faults, even into the recesses of his home, until he reveals what's going on in his home. And he said, because a believer always adheres to excuses for his brother, but the munafiq always searches for faults. And Allah is in assistance with his slave as long as he is in assistance with his brother. And it says in the Muwatta of Imam Malik, that this is related by Sayyidina Isa ibn Maryam, do not look into the faults of people as though you were lords, but rather look into your faults as though you were slaves. And Imam Sulaimi said, among the faults of the self is being blind to your own faults and preoccupied with the faults of others. And this is the first principle of the mujaddid. And so the scholars of Bilad al-Sudan have spoken, and they have advised us not to be preoccupied with the faults and sins of other people, and that we need to be paying attention to our own growth and development. For surely there's a tremendous amount of growth and development for each and every one of us sitting here today, because none of us are exempt from sin. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to continue to bless us and open up our hearts and minds to be compassionate towards our brothers and sisters. And that when we see a brother that we think in our mind seemingly he's not doing so well, then we help that brother or that sister to get their act together. This is the compassion. This is the tolerance that Uthman ibn Fudi rahimahullah was talking about. Having tolerance and compassion for your brother and or your sister. Because everybody wants to be forgiven. Everybody wants compassion, but they don't want to show it to nobody. And so this is my message for today. Fear Allah Ta'ala, man, as he should be feared. Die not, except in a state of submission. Realize that the ibadah, the worship of the believers, is associated with windows, tremendous windows of opportunity. When you make one salat, there's a window associated with that. The Imam always talks about knowing what time it is prophetically. That's what time it is, man. Prophetically, that's what time it is. Because as long as the Muslims continue not to show compassion and mercy, then we ain't going to know who the enemies are. You see? And whether a brother be a scholar or a saint, man, we got to work with him. Everybody ain't on the level as you. Everybody don't know as much Quran as you. Everybody's adab ain't as impeccable as yours. But at the same time, there's potential for improvement. There's a potential for betterment. And the only way for us to exhibit is to have the character of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We want to identify with a methodology of dawah that has a magnetic attraction, right? Because there's a science to giving dawah, right? It's a science to bringing people out of darkness into light. We don't want to repel people. But when we have these arrogant and we take these positions and we have a condescending attitude towards our brothers and our sisters, then we don't realize the harm that we do to Islam. We don't realize that we repel people from Islam. You see? And just like someone took the time to bring you out of darkness and now you're into the light, that's the same attitude that you got to take, you know, as the Sheikh talked about having a good opinion about his entire creation, looking at everybody's spirit. You know, and the meaning of man, there's a piece that says, if you look at every ugly thing, the meaning of his beauty will come to you swiftly. For beauty is only contemplated in the imperfection of ugly, and there's no imperfection and there's no ugliness. You see, so everything is beautiful. The reality of Allah's creation is beauty. You know, and as the Sheikh pointed out, he looked at everything, and the main cause for everything is ignorance. And it's your duty and your responsibility to bring the slave of Allah Ta'ala out of ignorance, to bring the people who are non-Muslim out of darkness into light, just as someone took the time and opportunity to bring you out of darkness into light. And that's why you're sitting here today in fulfillment of the command of Allah Ta'ala, wherein he says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha nudiya lis-salati min yawm al-jumu'ah fas'aw ila dhikrullahi wa dharul bay dhalikum khayrun lakum in kuntum ta'lamun. That is best for you if you knew. So you sitting here today and you smiling and realizing the opportunity that you got. But I'm going to tell you that the opportunities and the windows are they closing, man. Every microsecond, the common denominator of life is closing the windows of opportunity for each and every one of us. The common denominator of life, known as death, is closing the door for those opportunities. Tomorrow is not promised to no one. You can walk out this door today. I can walk out this door today, get in my car and drive off, and you never see me again. Never see me again, man. But that's okay. Because I'm going to try to do whatever I can and import the best knowledge and information that I can, and perhaps that I reach someone that Allah Ta'ala will forgive me. And on this day, as it was stated, that we send countless blessings upon the Prophet. Countless blessings on this day. Besides the window of opportunity where you make dua and you ask Allah Ta'ala to forgive you, remember to send countless blessings upon the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Send the most choicest of blessings that you can imagine in your mind upon Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because it's the Maqam Mahmud station that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is going to intercede for the believers on the day of Yawm al-Akhir. So send blessings upon the Prophet. As he says, وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَهَجَّدْ بِهِ نَفِيلَةً لَكَ عَسَىٰ أَنْ يَبْعَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. Right? That's Maqam, that station, man, belongs to the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as long as you continue to send blessings upon him, perhaps he'll intercede for you on the day that you really need it the most. When you really need it the most, when you come up short in your bank account of deeds, when you stand before Allah and you short, your bank is short, man, because you've been doing some stuff that you didn't have no business doing. But you always remember to send blessings upon the Prophet, and perhaps that station where he intercedes for the believers, man, will put you in a good position. And so I'm going to close, and I ask Allah Ta'ala, if I've said anything or anything wrong, or if I said anything to harm anyone, man, I ask Allah Ta'ala, I ask your forgiveness, and I ask Allah Ta'ala's forgiveness. And may Allah continue to elevate us, give us spiritual enlightenment, and let us benefit from the knowledge that was passed down from our predecessors, man. Because there's a wealth of knowledge and information throughout the world, man, that we can benefit from. And if we want to revive the spirit of Islam, Aki, we got to get busy. Can't sit around playing around or whatever. Ain't no time to play. All the 72 signs of the end of time have been manifested. So it's time to get busy. It's time to wake up. It's time to revive. It's time to rejuvenate. It's time to reinvigorate. You see? ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على قوم الكافرين. ربنا آتيني في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين والآخر السلام.